What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my random horror review series. I am your host, Mood616, and thank you once again for stopping in, guys. Yes, episode 71 is finally here. It has been a long minute since I've actually done one of these random horror reviews, and I'm very, very excited today because I got the brand new one here from Unearthed Films, one of my favorite labels out there. They're always putting out that obscure indie shit and the hardcore shit. So, yeah. Of course, the film in question here is from 2016, American Guinea Pig's Bloodshock. Yes, this is the sequel to last year's American Guinea Pig Bouquet of Guts and Gore, which was written and directed by Stephen Barrow, who is the owner of Unearthed Films. And of course, Stephen Barrow was, involved in this one. He actually wrote this film, but he passed the torch of the directing off to Marcus Koch, which, if you're familiar with Marcus Koch is like very, very famous in the indie world and the effects side of things. He has done special effects on hundreds of indie films. He's directed a few full-length films himself, most notably 100 Tears. He also did a film called Fell. He did a film called Rot, which was like a shot-on-video film back in the day. But he is mostly known as a special effects artist, so I was very curious to see what he was going to do with this film. You know, his films that he's directed have all been kind of different and stuff, and, you know, taking this type of film for what it is and throwing in the effects and stuff and see if he can handle all the duties. But yeah, we'll get into the storyline of this one here. Basically, well, there's not really a whole lot of story to the film. This one, of course, here is starring Dan Ellis. Dan Ellis is most notably from a lot of Ryan Nicholson films such as Gutterballs and things like that, and Hanger. He's your main character in this film. He kind of wakes up one day. He's been kidnapped. He wakes up in this white room where he has no idea how he's got there. And then he starts being subjected to like physical abuse and mental abuse and things like that. And that's pretty much your entire film. Now, my thoughts on this one. Now, this film right here is a completely different approach than the previous installment in the American Guinea Pig series. This one right here is all shot in black and white, which I thought was very, very creative and very smart by Marcus Koch, given what they were trying to do in this film. Yeah, this one is a totally different film than the first one. I think what I was expecting from this one is pretty much the complete opposite of what I got, and it's a really good thing. I didn't want a full rehash of the first film. I loved the first film, but I wanted something different, and Marcus Koch definitely delivered that in this one. This is a very artsy film. It's a slow burn, psychological kind of torture film. You know, it's very interesting how Marcus Koch developed this movie. It's very subtle in its approach. It's not like just bang, bang, torture scene after torture scene after torture scene. On the physical side, this one right here relies on a lot of mental abuse too, where Dan Ellis' character is just being tortured in this white room. You know, he's in this white gown and he's all kind of huddled up and he's just psychologically has no idea why he's there, and you can physically see it on his face. He's very distraught. Then it kind of cuts into these torture scenes, and they're not necessarily even torture scenes. The film's kind of disguised as a torture film, but it's really kind of like in a way a mad scientist film. There's a doctor, in his white suit. He's even got a stethoscope, and things like that. And they're doing experiments on Dan Ellis' character. Then you learn to find out that there's actually another person involved in this, a girl that's on the opposite side of the room, and they start to share these notes and stuff throughout the film, which I thought was a kind of nice touch also, which kind of leads into the third act. But the approach in the film was a lot more subtle than I was expecting. I was expecting an all-out gore fest, just ridiculousness, and that's really not what you got here. You got this very elegant, artsy approach to the film. Shot in black and white, I think, was the best thing that Marcus Koch could have done for this type of film. Given that it's such a slow burn, and it does have a little bit of deeper meaning to the film. I mean, the whole film is kind of a big metaphor for, how fucked up this world is, and, the pain and suffering that people endure on a daily basis and things like that. I might be wrong on that, but that's kind of what I got out of the film. Until the end credits, where things are kind of summed up a little bit. You kind of get a backstory in the end credits, which is kind of interesting for this type of film. I wasn't expecting to know anything about these characters that are being tortured essentially in this film, but you do actually get to learn things in the third act and stuff. For a glimpse of a moment, there is color in this film. I would say for maybe roughly 10 minutes or things like that. So that was kind of an interesting touch too, and then it fades back into black and white and finishes up like that. But the overall film is very it's very well done. I have to say, the effects in this film are awesome. I've heard from some people that the effects kind of lose their girth, you know, because of the black and white and stuff. I don't think so. I think a lot of the surgical scenes and things like that are just fucking straight up nasty. You don't really need the color to get the full effect of what you're seeing in the film. I think it all works really well. I think Dan Ellis's, the pain and suffering that he's enduring along with this girl also is just fantastic, man. I think their acting is great in the film. I think all around it's really good. And like I said, the approach is very soft. It's very subtle in everything, you know, of course in style and cinematography, but also in dialogue. There's not a lot of dialogue in this film. It could almost be classified as a silent film, for Christ's sake. There's probably like 30 lines in the whole film, maybe not even, maybe 20 lines in the whole film, which I do like. And it's kind of ironic for myself because I love, you know, very heavy dialogue films, slow burn dialogue films, but I also like slow burn non-dialogue films too, if the visuals are done right, and Marcus Koch captured it very well in this film. I think this is a really damn good film, and I think a lot of people weren't willing to give it a shot because if you didn't like, you know, the first American Guinea Pig film, you know, maybe give this one a shot. I mean, this one definitely is not going to be for everybody out there. I know this type of film is very niche, even in the horror community and stuff like that. I know torture films don't really sit well with a lot of people and stuff, but I think this one isn't just a torture film. I think, like I said, it's a big metaphor for something else, and there's a lot more going on here. It's just not, it's not that annoying, you know, straight up torture stuff. I think there's a lot more elements to this film. And another element in this film that I really enjoyed was the soundtrack, man. The soundtrack, especially during the surgical scenes, really awesome stuff, man. Really captured it. It's just really good, man. Really good. It's very haunting. It's very kind of, it's not even distracting, but it kind of catches your attention. You're like, ah, it's very well done. All around, man, really fantastic film. I even noticed in the end credits that Dustin Mills had a visual credit in this film, so I thought that was kind of cool. So, I mean, you got a lot of cool people involved in here: Dan Ellis, Marcus Koch, Stephen Barrow. I mean, really good stuff going on here. Not a lot of characters and a lot of people that are actually fully involved, but doesn't matter. Really good film. Really enjoyed this one. I will say maybe one of my biggest gripes on the film, though, is it runs just a tad bit too long. I was very surprised at the running length in this one. Besides the credits, I think this one runs just over 82, 83 minutes or something like that. Then the credits do take a while to kind of roll, and then, like I said, it does give you a little bit of backstory in the credits, which is interesting in itself because, like I said, I wasn't expecting that, and that's kind of a nice touch. I mean, for some people, it might seem that it's not needed. At first, I was like, I don't really need to know why these characters are there. But then it was kind of nice to know after the fact, after I thought about it. I was like, you know, that is kind of cool. It kind of puts a new spin on, you know, what you just saw for the previous 80 minutes. So, but American Gay Bloodshock, man, fucking awesome. Great release by Unearthed Films. Of course, this is another 3-discer, just like their first release, DVD, Blu-ray, and of course the soundtrack. Of course, the Blu-ray is in the player. Yeah, I can't stress enough, man. Like I said, if you're into these type of films, give this a shot. I really enjoyed this one. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. Definitely support this type of horror films, especially Unearthed Films are really great, really great. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I want to say about the film. I think it's just, it was good. I black and white, man. Best thing that Marcus Koch could have came up with. So, but yeah, 8.5 out of 10. Check out Bloodshock. Really enjoyed the film. And yeah, now I'm out of breath. I feel like I talked a lot for the last 8 minutes. So anyways, guys, that is going to do it for episode 71 here. I got a couple more reviews coming back to back for y'all guys. So stay tuned for those ones. And as usual, peace.